So, what I'm going to be talking about here is a development we saw in one of the many developments we saw in DC Rebirth number 1, which is the start of the new 52, I guess you could say, or whatever the fuck they're going to call it. There's a few developments in here, but I really do not want to spoil. If you have not been spoiled already, or you haven't read the comic yet, please, if you don't want to be spoiled, I'll give you a couple seconds to back out now, because what I'm going to be talking about here is probably one of the major developments, and what I guess some people would say the most controversial. So anyway, I'll give you guys a couple seconds to back out now. Okay, so I'm guessing if you're still here, you want to be spoiled or you already read the comic. So, with DC Rebirth number 1, which actually, I read it, guys, I'm not, I've been pissed off about DC before, but goddamn, Jeff Johns. Wow. I know you're a great writer, but goddamn. You know how to do your shit, dude. As much as I don't, as much as I have my grievances with DC, and I still do, I can't fault Jeff Johns for... I gotta give credit when credit is due. I'm one of those people who'll be like, oh yeah, this is shit, and then it'll be like, oh, this isn't shit. I'll call a spade when I see one. But yeah, this was not a spade. First, one of the biggest things, we're getting, Mara and Aquaman are finally getting married. I always assumed they were married, but no, they're just really boyfriend and girlfriending really hard. The return of pre-52 Wally West. Wally's back! Yeah, the original pre-52 Wally West. Yeah. But I want to talk about one of the biggest things that have happened in the comic book. One of the largest moments. Now, if you guys remember in Darkseid War, Batman took control of the Mobius chair and the first question he asked is, who is the Joker? And while we didn't get to know, he did have this look of, oh my god, what the fuck? In here, we find out, and Jeff Johns kind of teased we were going to find out more about the Joker, and we assumed that was going to be his name. But it turns out we're not getting a name, per se. Oh no, it's something a lot different. It is a lot different. And brace yourselves, there's not just one Joker, there are in fact 3. There are 3 Jokers in this universe. All Jokers. Wow. Now, you're probably thinking, that's a really dumb idea. 3 Jokers, what the fuck? And there are, in fact, the 3 Jokers are the Silver Age Joker, the Brian Ballard and Alan Moore Joker from The Killing Joke, and the Scott Snyder New 52 Joker. Now, when I first saw this, I honestly thought this was a dumb idea, but then I sat on it. I sat on it, and I sat on it, and I thought. And I puzzled and puzzled until my puzzler was sore. And then I came to the conclusion of, yeah, I can roll with this. Hear me out. Before anyone freaks out, let me talk about this, let me talk about this on a whole. I know some people are going to think this is a really dumb idea. 3 Jokers, 3 different incarnations of the Joker. And, why hasn't Batman figured this out? I can understand where people are coming from, but let me explain why I personally think this is actually a pretty cool idea. And I can understand, and I totally respect your opinion if you think this is a stupid idea. I know it's a really hard pill to swallow. I really understand that this is a hard pill to swallow, that there are, in fact, 3 different Jokers, and Batman's never realized it up until he got the Mobius chair. Reason being, and again, this is just my personal opinion, this is just me saying it as a fan. If you do not like it, that's totally fine. I'm not going to criticize anyone for having their own opinion. This is just my personal opinion. Now, let me explain why I think this is an interesting idea. First off, it's always been that the Joker's been written inconsistently, from being, this giggling idiot to this downright savage and just this more or less monster of pure evil. And it's always been said that the Joker's been written inconsistently, and that kind of makes sense when you have three different Jokers who quintessentially represent the three best Jokers, the three best versions of Joker. You got the Silver Age Joker, which can be ha-ha, stab funny. You got the Brian Ballard Joker, who's this very dark, but in a dark comedic kind of way. And then you've got the Scott Snyder Joker, who is just pure goddamn evil. So that's I actually kind of like that. When there's so many incarnations of Joker, it kind of makes sense that you have these multiple personalities who are in fact actual different people. I was like, that's brilliant. And the whole thing of why hasn't Batman figured it out? He's supposed to be, the world's greatest detective, right? Why hasn't he figured it out? He's supposed to be Batman. That's Batman fan talk right there. Let me explain why I think this is an interesting idea. Because the whole thing of Joker is that he's supposed to be Batman's greatest nemesis, and it's the big thing is that in the Joker's head, or should I say, the multiple Jokers' head, is that the whole thing with them, it's that they want to play. This is a joke to them. This is one monstrous, demented gag to Batman. That it's a joke they've been keeping to themselves. That's the whole thing of Joker, is that he wants, in his head, this is one big prank. This is something he's been doing, they've been doing now, for years. That's fucking evil. The fact that, Batman's always said, I can never pin down Joker psychologically, nor can I ever, combat him, more than once in a different way, that makes sense. That it's three different people. He's not dealing with one person, he's dealing with three. He's dealing with three different Jokers that literally have their own plans and schemes and, their own warped mindset. That's why Batman could never pin down the Joker before, because it was three fucking people that all pretended to be the same person. And I was like, that's fucking genius! That's the embodiment of the Joker, is that he, his whole thing, I'm playing a joke on Batman. And what better joke is to think, there's three of me, but I'm going to make the world's greatest detective think there is only one of me. I'm going to be so goddamn good that I am going to make sure that that Batman, world's greatest detective, doesn't realize that I am in fact three people, not one. Ha fucking ha. That is brilliant. In my own mind, that is just pure goddamn evil. That, Batman, who's supposed to be the great, this great, excuse me, this great detective, this, one of the smartest people in the DC universe, and he's never figured out why Joker has constantly gotten that, one edge ahead of him psychologically, or, he's been so inconsistent because, there's been three this whole time, and he's never known. He's never known. He's never even suspected that there was more than one Joker. That, in my mind, is what the Joker is all about, is to get the last laugh on Batman. That is brilliant, in my mind. In my mind, at least, keep in mind, guys, this is just my personal opinion. This is just my personal opinion on what I think. This is just me, thinking out loud of, what was I going to say? Of what I think of this whole thing of the whole three Jokers. And it's the three, even though, as much as I don't care, New 52 has a lot of issues, or, did have a lot of problems, I'll say this, they made a pretty scary Joker. I'll give Scott Snyder this, his Batman run's going to be one of those runs that are people are going to remember. And one of those reasons is because of how goddamn scary he made the Joker. So now in my head, I'm thinking all the times, from Laughing Fish to Killing Joke to, even now with Death of the Family, I'm thinking that was a different Joker each time. And it's not where, this isn't like with Captain America, the whole Captain America and Hydra thing, where, it's totally ruining a character, or at least, hurting what the character's values were all about. The whole thing with Joker is that we don't know two fucks about him. or about them now, I guess you could say. That's the whole point of Joker, is that you don't know. That's the mystery. You don't know about him. You don't know a goddamn thing about them now. It's gonna be, this is gonna be hard. You don't know a thing about him. That's the thing, is that he's, it's all warped. It's all just messed up in his head, or their heads now, that, they can get away with it. And that's the whole thing, is that we don't know a lot about the Joker's origin, whereas as Captain America, we've seen him in his highs and lows every time. And then you're just, the fact that, he was created to fight the Nazis and Hydra, and then you go around and say, oh, he's been an agent of Hydra the whole time, that's totally different. That just comes out of left field. But with this, with the Joker thing, yeah, with the Joker thing, I can actually get behind, because in a weird, fucked up kind of way, that makes sense. And I'm not trying to say, oh, you're being a DC lover instead of a Marvel lover. No, I'm more of a I love comics in general. I love comics on a whole. I'm not a Marvel fan. I'm not just a Marvel fan. I'm not just a DC fan. I just love comics. And again, if you do not like this, you do not like this idea of this whole multiple Joker idea, that's totally fine. No problem. I have no beef if you think this is a dumb idea. I can understand. I can honestly understand. I had a problem with it myself. I just had to sit down and think about it, and then be like, oh, this is kind of genius. But yeah, that's my thing, is that this is what the Joker's all about. Get the last laugh on Batman. And what better way is to make him feel stupid for as long as they've known each other. That's evil right there. And again, totally fine if you do not agree with me. That's totally fine. No ill will against you. This is just my personal opinion and how I feel. So yeah. So you guys tell me, if you guys have read DC Rebirth, and I know there was a lot of big reveals here and there, but I really just wanted to talk about the Joker thing, because that one, I feel like that's the one where a lot of people were like, what the fuck is this? And I just wanted to give my own 2 cents on how I felt on the whole situation. But you guys tell me, what do you guys think of the whole multiple Jokers thing? Are you guys, do you guys like it? Do you guys hate it? And just let me know how you feel about it. Let me know how you feel about the whole multiple Jokers kind of idea. Anyway, so once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.